Welcome to the first episode of Game On. I'm your host, Nicholas, here with Keaton. And today we have some good points for this episode. Some of the points will include Sonic Racing Cross Worlds versus Mario Kart World, as was a big game for this year. Silk Song's game, which was an absolute dumpster fire for their release. Also Mario 40th Anniversary Direct, and also EA being bought by Saudi Arabia. So for our first topic, for our first segment, we'll be talking about Sonic Racing and Mario Kart rivalry. What did you think about these two games when they got released?
So, I mean, Mario Kart World's obviously like a massive staple. And I think it's hard for any smaller. I don't want to say smaller because Sonic isn't a small brand at all. Sonic is massive, but compared to Mario Kart, it is considerably smaller. So overall, I mean, it's hard to take on a competitor. But I credit the Sonic brand and Nintendo and all the guys in general with trying to take it on. Do I think they'll ever pass Mario Kart? I don't think they will, just because, Mario Kart has been a staple for so long. I played it on the Wii. I played it on Switch. It's just that. It's been that game. It's the GOAT of racing games for so long. So overall, I mean, I appreciate, like, the attempt, but I think Mario Kart's going to come out in the end.
Yeah, no, I mean, being a fan of racing games in general, I think, for Mario Kart, for their new game, I think one of their biggest ads that they did for this game was an open world racing game for them, because I believe this is their first open world racing game for Mario Kart series. Yeah. So I think that was a really big boost to make this game better. I mean, in the past it has been really good. Mario Kart 8 was one of their best Mario Karts, but I think for this game having an open world style was really good, because you would after every map you would transition to the next one. I thought that was a really great ad, and I think all the characters that they added in were, I know a lot of people had, they wanted different characters, but I think you got to keep the same roster for every game. I know you could add in other characters too that are playable, but what do you think about, the open world and the characters?
I mean, does Mario Kart feel too safe to you, though? Like, does it feel like it's getting boring? Because that happens a lot of games where, like, they overstay their welcome and they push too much and they rebrand too often to where it gets bland and boring.
I mean, you look at the racing games, and in general, like, for Mario Kart in general, I feel like it's been, like, the same, I guess, like, racing games in general have the same concept. There's a start and there's an end. So it's like, what really can you do more besides making a new map? A new map could be difficult.
I mean, new items too, though.
Yeah, new items too. So it's like, you could also push your creative to the max. I feel like you could definitely do more. I think you also want to keep the nostalgia factor in a place too, because Mario Kart's been around for forever, and I think you want to keep some of these old maps, and also, like you said, to your point with the creativity, you also want to start making new maps as well. I mean, what do you think about their maps that they've added
the
in?
Maps, like, they've been okay. They haven't been terrible at all. I mean, I think it's really hard to make a bad Mario racing map because it's not really that difficult. It's difficult to make a map, but it's hard to really mess up. But overall, like, I think the overall playability, because you have so many fans that are diehards for this Mario Kart game and for Mario and Nintendo in general, that when you start to do the same thing like mushrooms and all that other stuff, it gets boring after a while, and people look for the newer thing to do well. You know what I mean? Like, there's competitors in almost every single realm, but Mario Kart really doesn't have any competitors, so it's hard for them to have to innovate change when you could just keep pumping out the same, different maps, but it's pretty much the same game every year and make millions of dollars. So I think it's hard to have innovation when there's no competition.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why I look at the Sonic Racing game, and they've added in a lot of characters to this game. I mean, for starters, for a DLC later for the game, they're going to add in Steve, Alex, and the Creeper, all from Minecraft. I think that's going to be a great addition to the game, and I think that's going to bring more people to go play that game, because I think also characters play a role in all these racing games too, because I feel like I look at, Mario Kart, you get the same characters over and over again. I mean, they have so many characters to choose from their movies, from the games, and they just really haven't added it in. And I just feel like that's, a way of losing people to other racing games. For example, like Sonic Crossroads. I mean, granted, they've had a lot of games in the past, but also they're adding in other characters too, like I just said before, Steve, Alex, and Steve from Minecraft, and also later down the line, they're gonna add in SpongeBob and Patrick from SpongeBob from the show. So I think that's going to be a really great addition to the game, and I think having DLCs for a racing game is also going to be something great to see, because we really haven't seen. I mean, me personally, I really haven't seen any like DLC for racing games in general. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like having this DLC post launch, and this game hasn't been out for a month yet, and I think already they're going to have a DLC launch soon. I think it's going to be something creative to see, something that I haven't seen. But what about
Do you
you?
think it'd be better if they launched the DLC, not as a DLC, but they just launched that as an advertisement for the game?
I mean, they probably. I mean, I think in the trailer, I think they did show Steve.
They showed part of it, yeah.
They showed part of
but at
it.
the same time, like I think also Sonic Racing Crossworld is trying to tap into that nostalgia factor that everybody has in Mario. Like, hey, we can't give you a childhood, but we can give you Minecraft, Alex and Steve and Patrick and SpongeBob, all the things you enjoyed in your childhood. So I think they're trying to make up for that with the thing. Now, it's a good move. It's not a horrible move by any point. It might help their game, but I think Mario's just too much of a staple for people to, because, if you're a mom in the store, dad in the store, you know Sonic, you know Mario, but Mario Kart is like that game. So you're going to pick that one, obviously.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, for the Mario Kart series, I think, it's been, I've played almost, I don't want to say all of them, but mostly for modern day, I would say I've played all of them. But also, I feel like, I don't want to get too much into the characters, but, it has been a nostalgia factor, like you just said. But also for, Mario Kart World, this game was at launch for the Switch 2. And I look at the prices between, from their Switch 1 with their launch game, which was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and to this one. Granted, Mario Kart World has only been out for a few months, but I feel like, for an at-launch game for a newer console, it really hasn't made, a big splash. For Mario Kart. It's only made 5.63 million copies, and then Breath of the Wild has made, granted, like I just said before, it's been out for a while, but Breath of the Wild has made 33 million. So I feel like, it's been interesting to see how people have gone into the newer consoles and don't have Mario Kart. I mean, granted, I think there's only 2 games out for the Switch 2. I think it's Donkey Kong, and I think it's the new Donkey Kong game that came out, and it's Mario Kart Crossworlds. But what do you think about this?
I mean, the Switch 2's launch has been nothing short of not fantastic. I mean, the Switch 2, they came out with the voice talking feature of faster processing, which every new console should have, and just overall like more options, which is fine. But a lot of it felt like you could either just sold a separate controller that had a speaker in it, or you just update the current Switch. Like, they tried to launch the Switch 2 as like the new PS5. Like, the PS4 to PS5 jump was massive. Like, I have one. It's insane. Yeah. But the Switch 2, like, there wasn't that big of a jump for me. So when you pair it up with Mario Kart or you pair it up with Sonic, like, the more dominant brand's going to come out. So when you pair up, the Switch 2 with a game, it's hard when the console is struggling to also have the game not struggle.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, for a handheld game, I think it has enough graphics to be better than what it was for the Switch 1 or the Switch OG, whatever you want to call it. But I think, being a handheld game and having, they essentially said it's going to have PS4 graphics, I think that's something to look into, because I think that's really good to have. Granted, you have the PlayStation 5, you have the Xbox Series S and X, but I think,
does it have PS4 graphics?
That's what they said. I mean,
you could say that, but I have not seen any PS4 graphics either.
That's what Nintendo came out and said. Well, that's what people. I don't want to say Nintendo. I think people who are more
the reviewers.
The reviewers said it has like PS4 graphics, but I think you have to take into consideration it's a handheld game, and it's like essentially a better version of the DS in a way. But I think having those graphics for a handheld is something we really don't see anymore, as handhelds are getting more and more popular. And I think having these graphics, I think, are a good thing. But also, for Nintendo's sake, you also have to have more games at launch. I think there's only been 2 games so far in this game, and this console's only been out for 5 months, I would say, at most. A little over 5 months, you could say. So for being out for almost half, for 5 months and only having 2 games, you don't really give Nintendo lovers any,
there's nothing to sink your teeth into. I mean,
exactly,
it's like you have a car, but you have no tires. Like, you can't go, you can't have anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that, it's insane. Also, like, because you mentioned the DS. If you look at the DS every year when they released a new one, it was different. They had the stylus, they had the touch screen. Like, it was brand new. It changed the game every year to be better. That's why people kept buying them. Look at the Switch 2. Like, there's nothing there that's like man, I really need to upgrade my. So like with with the PlayStation, because I know we're making that comparison with the graphics and whatnot. There's a reason to buy a PS5, so you can have the realistic graphics, you can have the upgraded speeds. With the Switch 2, there's nothing enticing me. There's nothing besides the games and like the DLCs. There's nothing to make me buy the console. I shouldn't have to buy a console because of the games it has. I should have to buy a console because it is a better console.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me personally, I think that I think Sonic should be more popular just because of what they've added. I think they've also added, other features to the game to make it better. And I think for me personally, I think I would choose Sonic Racing as one of a better game. It's only hasn't been out for a month, but I think Sonic's going to be a much better game because they also added in-game mechanics to upgrade your racing style and stuff like that, and which we haven't seen
cool.
for Mario Kart. But overall, what do you think about this
I mean, when you
comparison?
any time in a game where you can personalize anything is a win for me. You have to have the ability to personalize it because it feels like your own. This is a real life comparison. The other day, I rearranged the furniture in my dorm living room with my roommates, right? And instead of the generic, setting they had prior, right? It felt more like mine. It felt more like we designed it. So when you can add your personal touch or your own customization to anything, then that's something that really helps fans feel connected to games. You want to feel connected to a game. You don't want to be a game where you're just slogging through it and you're kind of just playing it. You want to feel integrated. You want to feel like you're part of that world. So I think that really helps with the personalization and really getting people more involved in the game.
From racing chaos to literal store chaos, Silk Song has finally dropped, and it's been wild. What do you think about this game?
I mean, it's supposed to anticipate indie game of the year. It has insane graphics, insane RC. It's deeply challenging. I think it's been a very good payoff for the hype it took. It had immense hype going into it. People were excited. Everything was popping off. Everything gaming related. Every other show, obviously we have the best show, but every other show was talking about it. Right? It lived up to the hype, and that's something we don't see very often. There's a lot of things. Look at Diablo. Diablo had a very, very good trailer, and that game is not great. I know there's a lot of fans out there that like Diablo, but it is not a great game, right? When you see Silk Song come out and it does what it said it was going to do or anticipated it was going to do, you love to see that. So I think overall it's a great game. It's living up to expectations. It's overall you really can't just don't mess up the DLCs and the updates. I think you'll have a strong contender for Game of the Year.
Yeah, no, I mean this game has been excellent since it came out. I mean, I've seen nothing but great reviews for this game. I mean, me personally, I haven't played it yet, but I think indie games so far, I think have been underrated. In my opinion, I feel like they don't get the love that they deserve since there's so many different games out there that you could play, and for an indie game to have all this hype since the last release that they had, I think being literal store chaos, I think is insane to see because we don't really see in-store chaos anymore for video games. I mean, everyone could buy it online now from, in stores for whatever console you have. And I think for you able to actually have chaos in stores brings back nostalgia in a way because, when me personally, when I was a kid, I would always, get whatever game I wanted, I would go to GameStop or wherever I was going to get that game and it would just be chaos. So for this game to have this same factor as it did, for me, I'm aging myself already. I'm only 21, but it's 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I think it's interesting to see, and I think this game definitely could, like you said, get Game of the Year. And I've definitely have seen really good reviews about this, and I think it's how long awaited this game really was.
Well, I mean, I just want to say you don't look a day over 17 to me. But at the same time, and obviously, we're saying how great the game is, and it is a good game. I've seen playthroughs, and I've touched it here and there, just at like different events and stuff like that. But at the same time, you have to acknowledge your faults if you're going to be a great game. This game launched, and I don't think a lot of these issues are a consistent issue. Day one issues, there was crashes, there was bugs, but at the same time, that's any game. Like, look at the launch of Overwatch 2. That we had streamers literally waiting 3 hours to get into games and then getting kicked. Like, that was the worst launch I think I've ever seen. But like stuff like this with these smaller bugs or all this other stuff, it'll get fixed through updates. So as long as they don't mess up the updates, like Blizzard. I'm just calling out Blizzard. But if they don't mess up the smaller updates and get some of that stuff fixed, I think it definitely has a contention for it to be a really, really good all-time game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think like you said, I mean, you're gonna expect these just crashes and bugs at launch, and over time, it's going to get fixed. So that's something you don't want to worry about, but. I don't want to get too off topic, but like you said, with Overwatch, I remember when that game came out and that was a horrible, queue time. And it was just, I'm not really a big fan of that, but I'm a fan of Overwatch, but I remember trying to play that. But getting back on topic, look, I think this game did excellent. I haven't played it. I don't know. Is there going to be a next installment for this game? I don't really know. I haven't played it yet, so I don't really.
I don't really know, but I think there definitely should be. I mean, I think it's almost a good thing when you have those crashes or those bugs the first day, because it means so many people are playing your game that it means you're crashing your systems. Like it says, when people are crashing down stores and breaking records and stuff like that in downloads, and people are almost fighting to get their hands on it. That's how you know the hype is real, and that's how you know as long as you deliver on that hype, you'll be completely fine.
Put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Yeah, and then, transitioning to our next segment, the mascot for Nintendo has finally turned 40. Mario is 40 years old.
Is he only 40?
Yeah.
I thought he was way older.
I thought he was way older too, but yeah, he's 40. Mario and Nintendo Direct had a big launch this past few months ago, or I don't remember when.
I don't want to interrupt you, and this is a massive off topic. You say Mario or Mario?
Mario?
Is that how you're supposed to say it? I've been saying Mario my entire life.
Mario?
I don't know. As our producer tells us.
Mario?
Is it what?
I'm pretty sure it's Mario.
Is it Mario? I mean, you're more Italian than I am. But at the same time, I've always heard Mario. Is it? All right, I never knew. I guess it is Mario or Mario.
But yeah,
that's the off topic. Go ahead. Sorry.
But we've had a Nintendo Direct. They, talked about a lot about Mario, whatever you want to say. But also, they released a lot of interesting things for this Nintendo Direct. I mean, starting off with Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 re-release for actually today, for October 2nd. So the releases are out now. What do you think about these re-releases?
I mean, re-releases overall are always risky. You never want to be the company that made one thing and just re-roll it and re-roll it and re-roll it. You never want to be that company. Obviously you have to innovate, but a re-release can also be a breath of fresh air if you make the right changes to it. So obviously you don't want to change the core components. You don't want to get rid of the nostalgia or any of the other updates, stuff like that really keeps the game relatively the same. But also, when you're making these changes, you want to make sure it's completely polished. You don't want to make sure it's half done or it's, kind of half done here and there. You kind of slack off on this. You want to make sure it's a completely polished game, because if you mess up the re-release, then the hardcore fans that really loved the original are going to turn on you, and they'll turn on you quickly if you kind of like ruin their baby or ruin their favorite game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember when Galaxy 2 first came out for the Wii, and I remember I have that game. I still have that game too. It's at my home. It's at home, and I still have my Wii. And
if you got rid, I'm honest, if you got rid of your Wii,
that's
a new level of 2000s betrayal.
I still have it. Hopefully, it still works, and if it does, I'll definitely be playing Mario Galaxy 2. But overall, I think re-releases are going to be good, but also, some people may not like that. It depends how some people feel. Like, if you've already played it already, some people may just not want to play it again. But also, you get better graphics, too, at the end of the day for the game. So I think that's also a positive to look out for. And I think that's also, Mario in general has just been excellent so far. I think, with all their games like Odyssey and, in the past with the Wii, I think they've been excellent so far. But, fans, may have mixed reviews about the re-releases. Some fans like it, some fans don't. But at the end of the day, it's just better graphics, same game. So if you played it already, you just play it for the better graphics.
Yeah, I think that's the goal of a re-release, though, is you want to give these hardcore fans, these diehard fans that love the game, something new to really enjoy. You know what I mean? But if obviously you want almost an upgraded version of what you gave them before. That's really the goal here. And I think they've delivered on that mostly. As long as they can tweak stuff here and there with the little updates, I think they'll be all right.
Also for their Direct, me personally, I think I love their I feel like this might be getting a little bit off topic, but
it's all right. It's our show.
But but for Pokemon, they have released a lot. I'm excited for what they're doing in the next few weeks, because the new almost said Mario, but the new Pokemon game is coming out as well, and I'm excited for it. I think this is going to be a great installment to the Pokemon franchise, and I'm probably going to get that as my birthday gift to myself. I don't want to showboat or gloat or anything, but I normally do that around that time. But I think for me, I think this game is going to be excellent. This is going to be another installment to the Pokemon Arceus series. If you played, I don't know if you played those.
I'm not gonna. I've played.
But it's Pokemon. An open world based game basically, and you play you go back in time essentially and you follow like the history of like Pokemon and stuff like that, what happened and stuff like that. And it was excellent. The graphics were insane for, OG Switch. And I just enjoyed that game heavily. Pokemon in general has done a open world game already for Scarlet and Violet. Wasn't really the best open world.
Is going back in time in the game better than just having a re-release of the old game?
Yeah, I think so, because like it gives you history of like the Pokemon itself, and also like it almost felt like in a way like Pokemon and Minecraft had like a baby essentially, because like you were able to literally craft your own Pokeballs and stuff like that, and that gave me like that Minecraft factor to it, and I think that was really good to see, and I think that game was excellent. And I will play it, if I could play a game over again, it would be that game for Nintendo purposes. But that game was excellent. I mean, I know you haven't played it, but their open world, their first open world game for Scarlet and Violet was not the best. It was, I don't even have the words to describe it. It just wasn't like me personally as a fan. I like the nostalgia for a game like that. I like having the routes and all that and stuff like that. Simple, straight to the point. I think it was nice like that. You can have an open world, but also make it smarter, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
I mean, I'm not trying to like put words in your mouth, but I think what you're trying to say is like keep the core of what made your game good, but at the same time innovate. Like that's
you gotta innovate it in a way.
That's how you gotta do with new games. Like new games always, you want to keep the core components of what made that game popular. Like Mario Kart, you got to keep the same. What makes people love it? They love the mystery boxes. They love the creative tracks. They love the music. They love the point system. You keep all those core things. That's complete, or even the battle system. Because I don't know if anybody really loves battle system. I enjoy battle system, but you keep all those the same, but you change it enough. Like you add new items, or you add this, or you add a different track mechanic where you're doing this. Like you keep your core the same. That's what I think a lot of games like with Mario Galaxy. I'm not saying this is they did this, but a lot of games that are also re-releases miss that shot of like that core that kept them together so much. They kind of just lose that, or they change too much, and it just doesn't really resonate with the core audience.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like with these for this Pokemon installment, Z through A is their next big game, and I think that's going to do excellent. It's going to be futuristic, and I'm excited for that game. But getting back onto the Mario side of things, Mario Tennis Fever is dropping for Switch 2. I mean, I haven't,
Mario Tennis, baby.
Mario Tennis. I haven't really, played the.
I played a lot of Wii Tennis.
Yeah, I've played a lot of Wii Tennis too, but I don't think I haven't played the Mario Sports. I don't know if you have. Have you played their installments?
I'm gonna be honest. I've strolled the aisles of GameStop and Walmart a lot, and I've looked at Mario Tennis, and I've just said, nah, not for me. Like I've looked at there and been like, what? I don't need to spend $90 on Wii Tennis.
Yeah, to play Mario.
Some people love it. I've heard a lot of people love it.
Or Luigi's brother, or whoever you want to play,
exactly.
Wario. But it's a different aspect. I mean, there is
a cult following. Like, I've seen a lot of people, they will cult follow with Mario Tennis. They say it is the best game they've ever played. I don't know what they think that game is, or if they haven't played other games, but Mario Tennis Fever is apparently like God to them, and God forbid you cross them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just think they're milking Mario at the end of the day. I mean, they're just giving him games to like
milking Mario. He's the face of gaming.
I know he's the face of gaming, but like you're giving him a tennis game. I mean, you could just make another installment to Mario at that point. But I just feel like giving him sports games are just something like I don't know.
I'm so sorry. Our producers are freaking out behind the camera right now. I need to let it out, guys. It's okay. I've seen. I don't know if this is even gonna make it in the video. Probably not. But I would love a behind the scenes video if we can make one. Our producers are currently dying laughing at what we're saying because they're like, "What are these two idiots?"
I think they're milking Mario. I mean, I know he's their face of the franchise. Mario, dude. But you're giving him a tennis game.
Yeah, we're milking Mario, baby. Woo! Only the face of gaming for 40 years.
But you're giving him a tennis game.
This is gonna go. All right,
I know, but I'm like
he's like an aficionado.
But I'm like, you could give him a whole new game.
I'm looking right into the camera for this. I don't older Robin, whoever's editing this. I don't know who's editing this. He's behind the camera right now. We want a behind the scenes blooper reel for the next RTN meeting. I'm putting that in the books. That's what I want. And you're gonna have to look at this now. Future Robin, whoever's editing this. You can flip me off all you want, Robin. All right, Game On's off the rails, and I'm here for it.
I love it already.
Oh my god. Okay.
All right. Getting back on track.
Do we need to clap or no?
Just keep talking. Okay.
Ready?
I think I think another game to look out for is Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. I mean, I really enjoy Yoshi as a character. I think he's one of my favorites out there. And
Yoshi's a dog.
He is. I think.
Well, he's not a dog, but he's cool.
He's a frog. Is he a frog?
What? That should be our next topic. Is what is Yoshi? That'd be a good game theory.
Yeah, game theory. We got to get.
We gotta get Matt Pat in here.
Matt Pat. He's got to come out of retirement. But anyway, for Yoshi, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I mean, what do you think about this?
I mean, the storybook aesthetic is definitely interesting. I feel like Yoshi's never had I mean, obviously he's had standalone moments, but I feel like this is the first time he's really stepping out into the spotlight and being his own person, own character, frog thing, I guess, whatever you want to call him. But I mean, it's a family-friendly game. I mean, you keep it consistent. It's just. I think it's just a fun game because people are going to play. I don't think it's going to break records, but I don't think it's going to tank. I think it's going to be right in the middle lane where it's, one of those games you kind of play it, you love it for the whatever months or years you play it with your family, and then you move along with it. I think it'll be good. Yoshi's earned it.
I mean, I think he's definitely going to sell games, and I think this game's going to be, a nice, fun watch game to see and also play. But also another news, the last part for Mario's 40th anniversary Nintendo
Moving
Direct.
On from the side characters back to the main character.
Back to the main character who I said that we were milking before. He's getting a second installment in his movie franchise, Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Did you see the Mario movie?
Yes, I did see the Mario movie.
I did not see it. I'm waiting for it to come out.
It was an interesting concept, I got to say. I think choosing Chris Pratt to voice Mario was also kind of interesting. I think he did an okay job.
I like Jack Black. Jack Black did a great job.
As my Steve?
Yeah. Or no, wait. No, he did the Mario movie. Yeah, he was in the Mario movie. Okay, yeah, don't make me think I don't know what I'm talking about.
I wasn't sure what movie we were talking about, but
they're both great movies.
Yeah, but anyway, getting back on track for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, it's set to release April 3rd, 2026, and they also have a lot of interesting characters to introduce. I think one of the main characters to introduce is Rosalina. I think is going to be a big factor for this game, for this movie. Sorry. What do you think about this movie?
I mean, I've not seen the first Mario movie. I've heard it's amazing. I've heard it's good. I've heard it's everything you want a Mario movie to kind of be. The hard thing with these would make a movie out of a video game is you have to you don't see the character in Mario games, especially in Mario games. You never see the characters acting. It's not like Red Dead Redemption 2 where they have distinct scripts and lines. It's relatively about the gameplay, and that's fine. You can have a game like that. Obviously, they've done it for 40 years. He's had a good time doing that. But when you put them on the movie screen, it's really hard to craft a story that people are going to love. And that's true to the game. You don't want to put out a movie that's just, Mario doing a thing. You want to make it a Mario movie where it's about his day-to-day or about something that relates to his character. So when you take a movie on like this, it's a big risk. And the fact that they're making a second one shows that there's obviously some interest there. And, there's high expectations, there's a risk of oversaturation of the market that you don't want with Mario. He's the face of Nintendo, for Christ's sakes. I mean, when you have a character like that, you don't want to push him so hard that people get annoyed with him or people see him too much. So I think the movie coming out next year is a great idea. I'm seeing April 3rd, 2026. We might have GTA 6 by then, hopefully. But at the same time, I mean, I think it's a great move. And if you can craft a really good story, you can be really successful with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the last installment to the Mario movies, I think it did middle. I don't know what the box office said. I think it did actually pretty well in the box office, I have to say. But I think, the movie in general was a good movie. I think it was a good watch. I think it could have been a little bit better, but overall they added all the nostalgia characters that you wanted in a Mario movie. But for this movie coming up, I think there's a lot of things you could do. I mean, you're going to, one of my favorite, hopefully Luigi's definitely going to be in the movie, but I think something I would like to see is Cosmic Luigi. I think that's going to be, hopefully, if they go that route. I don't know if they will, but
you think we'll see Rainbow Road? If it's Galaxy movie? I think Rainbow Road has to make an appearance.
Yeah. But overall, I think, this movie is going to be well. But for our last segment for this episode, I think one of the biggest news in gaming for this week is that EA was bought by Saudi Arabia for $55 billion. What do you? Billion with a B. So what do you think about that? I mean, I thought that was crazy news when I saw that drop a few days ago.
It's crazy news, but at the same time, it's one of those things that doesn't surprise you. Saudi Arabia has been buying up, and certain companies have been buying up, different video game acquisitions, and definitely different media acquisitions. I know they acquired some WWE partnerships with wrestling. They've acquired different TV stuff, different, obviously, motor sports brands, and they're just buying into everything because there is so much money there. The thing you have to worry about with Saudi Arabia acquiring EA, and this is not a knock to Saudi Arabia at all, but you have to worry about is it all just for the money? When there's so much money, when there's billions of dollars at stake, like look at when Minecraft got sold. Like I think if Minecraft would have stayed with Notch, now Minecraft's a great game right now, but I think if it would have stayed with Notch and not Microsoft in those earlier years, like when he first sold it, it would have been a much better game. It wouldn't have had the fall off it did, kind of in the 2019, 2020, 2021 realm. But at the same time, you have to worry about, obviously every company is there to make money. Everybody in this deal is here to make some money and do stuff with EA. But you have to worry about, is money going to take over too much to where they just pump out crap games that don't matter? You have to worry about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how EA is going to look with this new, with the acquisition that just happened. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how some of these games could happen, as Saudi Arabia has different laws than we do over here. So it's going to be interesting to see how games are going to play a factor. I mean, EA has tons of games from Apex, Battlefield, almost every single sports game that's out there. So, it's going to be interesting to see how Saudi Arabia is going to, develop these games in the future. I think it's going to be probably one of the biggest gaming news in the coming, probably, I don't think it's for this year, but I think in the next couple of years, it's going to be interesting to see how some of these new games are going to release. And I think, that could be a concern to some people. But overall, what do you think about this, acquisition?
And I think a lot of times with these purchases from, other countries or outside of American countries, mess that up. With outside of like America, businesses buying these larger companies, you have to, a lot of times what they'll do is they buy them and then take a step back. People think, oh my God, they're going to ruin the game. They're going to do all this, put all this in there. You have to think about a lot of Saudi Arabian, people there are a lot of rich people, investors. They take a step back massively and they kind of track the game and they say, okay, we're going to buy you out. We're going to buy your company, but we just want a piece of the pie. We don't want, we don't want to change anything. And like overall, with Saudi Arabia, you don't want them to come in and change everything. I don't think they will. I think they're going to overall keep it consistent. They'll let EA do their thing and they'll keep it decent. But you have to be concerned as an EA fan. I play a lot of EA games. You have to be at least a little bit scared of the changes that could come.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what is going to happen in the next few years, but I think that will do it for us for this week. I'm your host, Nicholas, here with Keaton, and I think, this was a great episode, and we'll be with you next week, Thursdays, and hopefully we'll have a great episode next week.